Welcome to Soft Recap. Today we're gonna explain a 1990 romantic comedy Pretty Woman. A story about a billionaire named Edward who falls in love with a prostitute named Vivian. Shortly after breaking up with his girlfriend Jessica, Edward storms out of the party which was prepared for him by his lawyer Phil. He takes his lawyer's car and drives away trying to get to his hotel in Beverly Hills, but he gets lost over and over, until he ends up at Hawker's Corner, the red light district, where he meets Vivian and asks her for directions. She offers to help him if he pays her $5, and as he is arguing about the $5, she raises the price to $10. He instead offered her $20 if she would take him directly to the hotel. On the way, the conversation continues between them, making Edward realize that Vivian knew much about manual transmission cars than him. He then offers her to take the driver's seat, wondering how she could make $100 an hour on streets. Reaching the hotel, he pays her the agreed amount of $20 and says goodbye to her. But after a few moments he realizes that he could use her company. He invites her to accompany him into the hotel for $100 an hour. Reaching the penthouse at the hotel, Vivian gets excited about all arrangements and decorations inside. He later serves her champagne and strawberries to lighten up the mood. Edward reveals to her that his ex-girlfriend Jessica is in New York, moving out of his apartment as he speaks. Vivian informs him that she appreciated the all-seduction thing, but she needed to go into action before it gets late. Edward asks her how much for the night. Vivian asks for $300, which Edward agrees to pay, and tells her to relax. Vivian keeps on seducing Edward as he keeps busy with his work. She finally manages to weaken him, and he gives in. She asks him what he wants, to which Edward replies asking her what she offers. She responds that they can do everything else except kiss on the lips. Edward accepts the rules of the game and claps her all night. The next morning at breakfast, she asks him what he does for a living. Edward tells her that he buys companies with difficulties and liquidates the assets. He later makes her a proposal to her that, if she stays with him for the whole week as he attends his business meetings, he would pay her $3,000, which Vivian accepts and stays at the penthouse. As he leaves for duty, she tells him, "Baby, I wanna treat you so nice that you never wanna let me go." Excited Vivian then calls her roommate and tells her about the all-happy hotel situation. The scene then changes, showing Vivian on shopping, but annoying she fails to purchase any branded dress because of her social class. She then comes back to the hotel, and the hotel manager stops her from going to the penthouse. The manager informs her that the hotel has special customers who could not withstand her inappropriate dressing code. Later the manager helps her to purchase a dinner dress, and later teaches her dinner table etiquettes. That very night they go for dinner. Vivian keeps on asking Edward the kind of foods served and how to eat them. The same night, Edward tells her about his late dad, that he never spoke to him for 14.5 years, and wasn't there when he died. The following morning, Edward takes Vivian for shopping in fancy stores. He tells her to buy anything beautiful using his bank card. The longer she stayed, the more they both fell in love with each other. Edward starts taking Vivian with him at the horse race, but she gets scared that what if someone recognizes her that she was a hooker. He assures her that nothing can happen, and they gonna have a wonderful time together. Surprisingly, Vivian gets recognized by David, and asks to take a ride with her. Phil questions Edward about how he got her, and he tells him that she is a hooker whom he met while asking for directions. Reaching home, Vivian gets furious, and mad at Edward for telling Phil that she was a hooker. Vivian tells him that she is sorry for having met him. She then asks for her payment to leave. He pays her, but she decides to leave without taking the money. Edward follows her out and apologizes, and also reveals that he was angry of her talking to David at the horse race. Vivian accepts to go back, and that very night they have happy moments together. The following day, Edward buys her expensive jewelry and takes her to a music show at the theater. She sneaks up on him while he is asleep and steals a kiss on his lips, which he notices and kisses her back. The moment gets so heated up and he claps her again. The following morning, Edward offers to buy her an apartment to get her off street and a car to take her shopping, such that he could visit her any time whenever he comes to Beverly Hills. At the office, everyone notices that Edward is changing, which prompts his lawyer Phil to visit Vivian at the penthouse. He tries to force himself on her, referring to her as a hawker. Suddenly, Edward comes back home and pushed him out. Vivien decides to leave, but Edward asks her why she had decided to leave at that moment. He then gives her payment and his business card, telling her to contact him if she ever need anything. Vivien rejects the offer and decides to leave the hotel. He tries begging her to stay, but she refuses and goes back to her place where she was renting with her friend Kit. The movie then changes to Edward feeling lonely at the hotel, thinking of the happy moments he had spent with Vivien. Preparing to leave the hotel, Edward realizes he really loves Vivien, and he decides to cancel his flight to New York and goes to look for Vivien instead. He confesses his feelings for her publicity, and she accepts to give him a second chance. He climbs up with a love flower and kisses her. Thanks for watching.